Hello, welcome back to my channel. Since today is May 1st, I thought I would do sort of an April wrap-up video, although I probably should have done that a couple days ago, and then a May TBR video. So one thing that I have tweaked for my May TBR that I did not do for my April TBR is I am pulling back just a little bit. In April, I got a bit distracted and I read the right amount of books, but I did not read all of the books from my TBR. I sort of went off on a bit of a rabbit trail and read some other books that were related to the books on my TBR, but were not the exact books on my TBR, which is something that happens a lot of times. I'll find a subject of interest and really dive into it, and so that oftentimes will pull me away from a different particular book that maybe I had planned to read. I do like to leave room for that. So I thought that in April I had left enough room to be able to read all of the books on my TBR and read all of the new books that came across my attention. However, that was not true. I had put too many books on my official TBR and I did not leave enough room for those extra books to find space to read in the month. So I decided in May to really pull back on my official TBR to leave plenty of space for those extra books that catch my attention, to leave me plenty of space to read both the books that I plan to read and the books that I don't plan to read but end up reading anyway. And so in the month of April, I ended up reading 13 books. However, 8 of those were supposed to be my TBR books. Only 4 of, I read half of my April TBR, which I feel pretty good about. I was planning on reading the entire TBR, obviously, and then filling it in with the extra books. Got a little distracted. Ended up reading a lot of books from my shelf still, not from my TBR shelf necessarily, but books that I had been wanting to read for a long time, and finally just decided to read it. So I'm happy that I was able to get the books read in April that I did, just because they had been sitting on my shelf for a while. I've been wanting to read them. I finally got a chance to. And so in April, I read the first book that I read in April was a short story by Ivan Turgenev called Moo Moo. Only a 60-page short story about a serf who connects with this dog, this stray dog that he finds, and sort of this connection that he makes with this animal, and then in the end, him having to part ways with this dog. It's a quite a sad story, but it's beautifully written. Then in April, I finished reading Crime and Punishment. This was a buddy read with a good friend of mine. We did not start in April. We actually started in February, and we were just taking our time reading through it incredibly slowly in order to be able to fully appreciate the novel. I'm very glad that we did read it over the time frame that we chose to do, just because it gave us plenty of time to really sit with it. An absolutely fantastic novel. I'm sure in the future I'll be making a more in-depth video, or not a more in-depth, but an in-depth video about Crime and Punishment, just because it's such an important piece of not only Russian literature but world literature, and so it definitely deserves its own screen time. Then the next one that I read in April was Bartleby the Scrivener by Herman Melville, Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell by Susanna Clarke. I made a video on that one. Maurice by E.M. Forster, Noel Coward's 3 plays, Private Lives, Hay Fever, and Bligh's Spirit. Tess of the Dubervilles by Thomas Hardy. I did make a video about that one. The Duel by Anton Chekhov. This was another buddy read with the same friend who I read Crime and Punishment with. We read this one over the course of a week, and it was absolutely fantastic. Return of the Native by Thomas Hardy. Catherine the Great by Robert K. Massey. As I Lay Dying by William Faulkner. The Romanovs, The Final Chapter by Robert K. Massey, and then I ended the month with The Diaries of Noel Coward, which were absolutely phenomenal. They were, I always love reading an author's diary, because you get this really raw, authentic side of them that they don't always show in their professional or published works, which is just fantastic to see. And so for the month of May, I have decided to only put 4 books on my immediate TBR, and this will, or sorry, 3 books on my immediate TBR, and this will give me plenty of time to get this entire list read, as well as having plenty of time for those other books that come across my path. I did choose 3 fairly large books to compensate for the smaller number. And so the first on my TBR for the month of May is War and Peace. I've actually already started this. I'm about 60 pages in. This is a buddy read, again for me this month, and so I will not be finishing this in the month of May, but it's going to be one of my main reads throughout the month. Next is, upside down, is Nicholas and Alexandra by Robert K. Massey. This is a part of his Romanov series, which I have been reading through. Catherine the Great was one of the books in that series as well. I believe this is book maybe 2 or 3 in the series. And then last but not least is Robert K. Massey's Peter the Great. This one I have also started. I started about 2 days ago, but I'm counting it as a May read rather than an April read. I am on close to page 200 in this one. This is also a part of Massey's Romanov series. This is book 1 of the series. Once I finish this one and finish Nicholas and Alexandra, I will do, I think I'll probably do one video talking about the entire series, and I could break it down into individual videos for each book, but I think because of the way the books really bleed into one another and you get the full picture through reading all of them, doing one video kind of talking about all of the sort of all of what I found interesting in each book kind of in one video might be an interesting idea. So I'll think about that, and that will definitely happen towards the end of the month after I get them written, or not written, but read. I wish I wrote them. So that is my April wrap up and my kind of very loose May TBR. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any comments you would like to leave, please do so, and I will see you in the next video. Bye for now.